completely good until they end up not being. So, basically, a libertarian and pretending to be objective is the same as a Calvinist pretending to be objective. It's more or less the same thing. No free will, or all free will, or no free lunch even. No such thing as a free lunch for the libertarian, but no such thing as free will for a Calvinist. But the difference is, one of them is motivated by the profit motive, and the other one is motivated by the profit motive. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Alright, so on the topic of religion, here we have this deck, the Intifada, with its godless shrines that evoke ancient demons. So yeah, let's finish that thought too. This is very interesting. So they had their clerics, which included humans and zombies, because obviously anybody who's been to a Catholic church knows that a priest is halfway in between those sorts of things. In Onslaught Block, which was, Onslaught Block was pretty fun. It was an interesting tribal thing. And then they ended up having clerics next appear in the Church of Orzhova, which is just a joke about how the church is a mafia, which anybody who's watched The Wire Season 2 with Frank Sabatka buying the Knave, which is how it gets started against the whole Stan Valchek shipbird thing, or, the entirety of The Sopranos, the church is a mafia thing is very important. George Orwell books also come to mind. Not so much Waugh or Chesterton, though. I guess they're just deluding themselves, because that's what you have to do. You have to fall in love with your misery to be able to put up with that sort of thing. So, it was a little soft-pedaled, though, in the ancient Orzhov things. Like, the cards look older. There's less of a quality of thisness, as we might say in pretentious English analyses. The cards are from that time feel a little older. The colors are less vivid, and the theme of anti-clericalism is less explicit. Like they have Orzhova, the Church of Deals, and they have Orzhov Pontiff again, who's just a major pain in the neck for this deck to deal with, and so they have stuff like that. Revenant Patriarch is debtor's stuff that, again, recalls the treasury of merit, or the prosperity theology that, the religion and finance just run language-wise perfectly with one another, though one can think of words like redemption, or Jesus saves, or Yahweh spends, or something like providence being able to provide for you, or the last scene of the trial, or the second to last scene of the trial, where the guy, or Joseph K, who works in a bank, is being accosted by the priest, who somehow knows his name because he can't see 2 steps in front of him. Whereas in corporate culture, the Catholic Church is very good at doing this. It's the best of the business, the biggest. In fact, of corporations with 1.2 billion members paying dues. Anyway, so they never, again, think of printing something quite as explicit as in original RGB block as they did in RTR, where I was actually quite excited for this. So, like, Godless Shrine is a good one. Isolated Chapel in Innistrad, of course. Similar sort of idea, but and black-white, of course, are perfect colors for religious theme, because they tend to see the world in black and white, or Manichaean terms. Anyway, the art on something like Mauve, the Obsidian, which depicts people running up a huge staircase to jump into this thrall's massive gut, and the flavor text is something that could not appear in the... They jump in to avoid the debts they owe, but end up owing in the afterlife. It's a fantastic purgatory joke, and the art is just so good. I just love it so much. They would never dream of printing something quite that brazen at time. So, or in original RGD, then though the flavor texts are kind of lame sometimes, like Cartel Aristocrat, saying your life serves a higher purpose, which is serving my own. It feels like a little bit of adolescent anti-clericalism. It's pretty good. I find it quite gratifying. So anyway, and on the topic, this deck, I call it the Intifada. I've entertained some other ideas for including the Spurs in Duke University, because it's white splash black, but everybody's actually white because you need them to gain the life. And a few others that are not coming to mind right now, but mainly I like the Intifada because of the religious theme of black-white, and the Intifada, for Those of you who don't waste a lot of time reading old news, or didn't, or never have, is the Palestinian movement, the shaking. I think it literally means in Arabic to curb Israel. And so, what do you do in the Intifada? You suicide bombers. You blow yourself up, and you blow yourself up to think that you gain eternal life. Let's say 30 or more for this ascendant. You become an ascendant, and then you have some birds, and then some spirits that are lingering, a couple grunts, fighting the piecemeal resistance against the IDF, and then some other threats that are not particularly germane. I guess Wrath of God. Armageddon would be even better for the Israel theme. Zealous Persecution is totally hilarious as well. Path to Exile, and it would be Theodore Herzl. In the words of Walter Sobchak, State of Israel, Eit Chaim He. So, but mainly, yeah, you blow them up and gain a bunch of life for no apparent reason, but then they just die because you drain them out with the Vizkopa Guildmage again. I pulled up the Vizkopa Guildmage. Actually, let's pull up a few cards here. So, there's the Scholar. I think Zombies, another, yeah, perfect stuff. Really love the flavor of Alara block. Okay, so let's take a look here. Vizkopa Guildmage. Yeah, this was the initial shiver of inspiration for this deck. Came about as the result of Josh Blackaborough, my Moto buddy, saying, yeah, you can nug him for 21 with Martyr. That, and another friend of mine, Sam Levine, told me that I should play Orzhov Charm and Martyr because it seemed tailor-made. Now, I rejected the idea out of hand at first because it was Sam and I wanted to piss him off. Plus, what is a Jewish dude doing talking about a religious deck? Because Judaism isn't a religion, it's a culture. The religion is called Zionism. But made perfect sense, though, that with black, not only could you play the Vizkopa Guildmage to clock combo or have a certain amount of inevitability against control, which it had a tough time of doing with Sisters lists, but also you could play, more importantly, well, in descending order of importance, you could play Lingering Souls, which is a million times better than Spectral Procession. I've heard people on MTG Salvation tell me that Lingering Souls is worse than Spectral because Spectral triggers off the Windbrisk Heights right away, but it's a funny thing to say, but I guess people on MTG Salvation say a bunch of funny things. Then you could play, let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. The removal's hidden right now by the small nature of my recording. Okay, let's just pull up Maw of the Obsidian for a little literary analysis right now. It's just so good. Quite the limited bomb, too. It's fantastic. Like, look at the stained glass stuff. The sun, which may be a pun on father, son, etc. And then, oh man, see these little decorations at the bottom of the staircase. They evoke the jollity and Falstaffian nature of a state fair, or let us say a stoning, or a religious lynching, one might call it. So here's what we got here. Lingering Soul is by far the most important black spell. Orzhov Charm also for a little more removal, because the way the meta was developing, we wanted some more stuff. Like, Original Sisters has no problem dealing with stuff like a Goyf or a Nicodle back when it was legal, but it does need the removal for creatures like, obviously, Deceiver Exarch or Malira. So that the extra versatility on this card is just insane. The first mode ends up being important sometimes because you need to bounce a ranger. The second, or the last one, just to recur a guy at instant speed. One of your very good one drops is also important. We also found ZP to be, with the rise of Lingering Souls and Jund and crap like Bogle, that you just never want to lose to. But